Hi Virgo, welcome to September and happy belated. Today is the Virgo new moon, perfect day to do your reading. First, let's talk about Mercury. Mercury was retrograde in your sign and then shifted back into Leo. And on the 9th of September, it will re-enter Virgo. You have a lot to say, and you should say it. You have a lot of feelings about a lot of things, and you should express them. You have a lot of opinions, and they're valid. But somewhere between the 9th and the 26th, this will become a little bit much. During this particular period, your words are sharp, your insight is keen. However, you are made to take responsibility for the things that you say. And that's not always the case, and you know that. So, the sun is shining on you, and it shines on you until the 22nd. But you have to remember that this time around, when the sun is shining on you, it is in opposition to Saturn in Pisces, which Virgo rising is in your 7th house. So when you have Saturn in opposition to your sun, you, of course, because the sun is in your sign, you're a priority, right? Your projects, what you want to do, your initiatives, they're all a priority. But that Saturn opposition makes everything that you strive for a lesson in humility. Saturn wants to enact some tough love here. So you have many things to say, and you should say them, and your mind is very sharp. But that Saturn opposition is very clear that whatever you put on the table, whatever you put on the table, it will be examined with a very exacting eye, and you may find your own criticisms being mirrored back to you through that Saturnian energy. So in another facet of your life, you make a comment about something, you're critical of something, and then that Saturn opposition swings it back around. So whatever it was that you were criticizing now looks like projection, and it's more of an admission than it is a criticism of someone else. This can get very tricky. There is a way, of course, to avoid Saturn being this way with you. It is, after all, a season of celebration for you. It sucks that Saturn wants to come in and break up the party and make sure everything's being done according to the rules, right? That's happening now as the sun is in your sign. On the 9th, Mercury will join the sun, and then Mercury and the sun will be in opposition to Saturn. So there's a few things that you can do. You can be really honest and responsible with your feelings, where you put them, who means what to you. Right now, I fear that there are people around you that you have had around you for a while, but I don't know how much they actually mean to you. And you're not going to have epiphanies pointing these people out that you should, call them from the herd. But you know it yourself. This is not the universe stepping in and helping you. This is the universe having such an exacting eye on you, making you feel the depth of responsibility, your social responsibility. It makes you take stock. I think aside from having a more active role in where you put your energy, I think it's also a great vehicle to get you to spend time by yourself learning something. Because a lot of the things you're criticizing right now are things that you'd actually be really good at if you knew a little more. So you may be prompted from the 9th to the 26th especially to learn more, learn something new, or learn more about what you already do, or whatever it is that your passion is, whatever you're perhaps externally focusing on and criticizing. Okay, really? It went like all the way into the chair. It's more than learning. It's like learning so much about something that you can develop a deep philosophical understanding of it. It's a great time to do that. It's Saturn approved. It's so beneficial for just how you communicate with people. The more you know, the more exquisitely captivating you are. The more you can talk about things you know, the more people fall, at your feet. So nothing bad about getting some more education. Now Mercury is in its summer residence here starting on the 9th, and from the 9th to at least the 20th you're very clear-headed. And that's what I mean about not taking things personally and instead shifting this energy over into education. Because you are just so clear-headed, you can pick out something for yourself right now to study or to get more involved in that you'll really, really like. Also, though, this clear-headedness, Saturn brings you that 8 of Swords insight into your social circle that you are not necessarily happy about. You're actually irritated by it even when people you love bring it up. You just don't like to be told that your friends don't reciprocate the way that they should, that your loved ones don't reciprocate the way that they should, that your spouse or significant other or even situationship doesn't reciprocate the way that they should. And maybe you've heard it for a long time, and maybe you've always thought, oh, well, my friends just love me and they have very high standards for me, and that's all it is. But between the 9th and the 20th, you see for yourself how reciprocity is at an all-time low. And it's confusing because you felt like you put so much into this. And you're sensitive about it, which is okay. But on the 22nd, Venus is going to move into Scorpio. And when Venus moves into Scorpio, any resentment you have, any anger you have, any negative feeling you have is going to crystallize. So the bridge between realizing that reciprocity that you deserve is not there, and Venus moving into Scorpio on the 22nd, the bridge between those is precarious, because you can carry over your resentments when you're quite sharp in your mind and see everything so clearly. You can carry those very valid resentments into a Venus and Scorpio season, which can be really dangerous. And then we have the Queen of Cups. So the other thing about Venus moving into Scorpio, which is so beneficial for you, is that I think that there is a real moment here, a gentle few weeks where it's possible to find someone that you really like. And I think that maybe you need, right? On the 4th, Mars is going to move into Cancer, and on the 22nd, Venus will move into Scorpio. So we have all this water energy building up from the beginning of Mars moving into Cancer on the 4th. We have an overwhelming urge to be taken care of, to take care of, to protect, to make safe, right? For you, the way that can translate, because you do feel like having somebody in your life, you do feel like, it would be nice to move into the fall and into a really celebratory season with someone special. If you haven't already hooked up with someone, usually Virgos don't like to be alone on their birthdays. That's not shade, that's fucking true. Where you'll probably find that Mars in Cancer love interest, we met when Mars was in Cancer, that's someone you know, someone your friends already know, someone you've seen around the way, someone you see all the time at the same coffee shop, bookshop, whatever. And it's, again, surrounding these themes of safety and feeling like you can explore your, let's say, recent healings, recent accomplishments. Most Virgos are coming out of a time of, being unsure if they are ready to be in a relationship. And now the urge is there, the luck is there, Jupiter is in Gemini, Venus is in Scorpio, Mercury will be in Virgo, the Sun is in Virgo. It's just looking like a good time to find someone who fits who is suitable to your long-term nature. Okay? Who is suitable to what you're like underneath the thing that usually attracts people. So let's talk to the crosswatchers here. If you are in love with a Virgo, if you are married to a Virgo, if you're trying to get a Virgo's attention, if you're in a situationship, if you're just head over heels for a Virgo and they don't even know if you're alive, the thing that you have to understand about them, especially now, is that much like Libras, and I had this talk yesterday with the Libra crosswatchers, what you're seeing is the result of a lot of diligence and a lot of steps. And although the finished product is, mashallah, glorious, if you don't have the wherewithal and the patience to let Virgo take the steps they need to take to be themselves every day, to be sane, to be beautiful, to be fit, all of the above, they start to unravel a little bit. The difference with Libras is that they also have the same commitment to excellence and the diligence and the, focusing on beauty and aesthetics, but they're more than willing to rope you in to their care. Whereas for Virgos, their space of working and that diligent spirit that also applies to their self-care, their aesthetic, their home, their cleanliness, that's a hermit activity, that's a solitary activity. So in a lot of ways, when you fall in love with a Virgo, you're falling in love with the idea of spending a lot of time alone. Because as they need a lot of time alone, you will inevitably spend a lot of time alone. But it's not personal. It's not because they don't want to see you. In fact, they want to see you a lot. It's just that if they don't do all the things they need to do, they're no good to be around. And that's what we're discussing at the beginning of the reading, is when you have a burst of energy, which they have right now, and you use it, it's a superpower. You use that ability to criticize, but you're doing it from a place where you're sad, where you're stressed. It's just going to come back around. When Virgos don't feel good, they will create instant karma around them that just instantly comes back and bites them in the ass. And I think they figured out, and they continue to figure out through September, that a big part of being off kilter and then using their words to get them into karmic trouble, I think they realize that a lot of that happens when they're not on top of taking care of themselves and doing the work they need to put into themselves. So if you have any intention of coming into a Virgo's life and you can't make room for their solitude, which is like a third person in the relationship, inevitably you will make them sad. They may love you, they may even stay with you for a lifetime, but inside there is something that goes missing. You know, time and again, when they need their time alone and they don't get it, something eats at them. And if you've been around a Virgo long enough, then you've seen them get empty like this. And when they get empty, it's because they've been giving and they haven't had a chance, an opportunity, or permission, sorry to trigger some people, to recharge. So that solitude plays big in September, and it's really easy to get hurt, to have your feelings hurt by a Virgo if they're not feeling centered. Between those two things, what I would advise is that you let Virgo set the terms of how you see each other, when you see each other, and you don't take it personally if there is an expanse of time between those, between now and the next time you see them. It'll actually make them a lot more comfortable if you don't push it. Okay, now, back to you. When we talk about Jupiter in Gemini, it's just so easy to meet the right kind of partner that you shouldn't compromise at all. Jupiter makes it so easy for you to meet someone who's just as stable as you need them to be, in the most attractive way. So if you're picking up red flags, if they're showing inconsistency and instability, let them go, because there's something very stable. Jupiter is enormous good luck. There is something that suits you perfect. Wait for that. But it has begun, you know, the wheel is turning towards the next mate. We're in that season. And if you're with someone, happily with someone, or you know, whatever your status is, and you're happy with it, the best thing that you can do for your partner is to take responsibility for the tone and the words that you know you're using that are just escaping you. You know, if you want to be a good friend, if you want to be a good partner, take responsibility for how cutting and biting some things that you're saying right now are, and also lose the ego around it. I think that's the part that really Saturn wants to hammer into you, and I don't want to see you get into that kind of boxing match. Even if you're right, being an asshole makes you wrong. I know you guys hate that because it's not logical, but you also know it's true. And you know exactly what I mean. Cool. We're going to look at these cards, and we're going to do career, money, physical, and mental health, and also some general advice, which will not be the same advice I gave you right now. It'll be much more toxic. That extended is available on Patreon. You can use the same Patreon link to either subscribe or just buy it outright. But don't buy it from the app. Buy it from the website. It's cheaper. And then there's a Vimeo link. You can watch it, rent it, buy it through Vimeo. There's also a PayPal link that's direct, and the video gets sent straight to your inbox. And then there is a link for personal readings below that look like this. And they are recorded. They are anywhere between 8 to 12 minutes long. And there's also a link, an email address for my assistant Nicola, who is setting up the next full moon online get-together for October. Also, I'm raffling some tickets for an off-Broadway show, but that information is for Patreon subscribers, and I'm going to put that info up there. All right, that's in December if you're interested, in New York City. I can only give you more details over there. I love you. Let's look at these cards. Happy birthday.
Hi, Virgo.
Welcome to the preview for your extended. We are still talking a little bit about this bridge between love, where you're putting your energy, and where you should put your energy. So let's talk a little bit about that, and then we'll move on to the nitty-gritty of the extended. There is a call here for radical change. For some of you, this indecision that you have been feeling about moving forward is something that's quite risky. Maybe it's not quite risky, it'll go really well, inshallah, but it feels risky to you. That indecision, it coupled after the 21st of September with what's going on astrologically, it just gets a little bit extreme, more extreme. When Venus squares Pluto, things can get a little yuck. So you pair that with the indecision, the yearning for change. You want something, not more. You want to be doing more. You want to contribute more. You want to bring your thing out, right? And all of the fall and into next year, until June, you have opportunities where you feel like you are truly contributing. And you're also making huge strides in terms of money and career. You've gone back and forth for a while now about whether or not someone can have them both. And the opportunities that come to you starting now, they prove that you can have both. You can find someone who really gets you, and you can be a contributing member of society and still make a healthy living, a generous living, a good living. I wonder if you've gone back and forth about that, about whether or not that's possible. I suppose we all do. If we are trained to see abundance in one aspect of our lives, we've usually been denied the example of seeing it in some other way. For a lot of us, that looks like parents who cross each other like ships in the night because all they do is work. So, that question that most modern humans have, if one can be content and still be a good contributing member of society, if one can be in a relationship and be happy, if one can do both at the same time, is it possible? I think this is what you really mean by perfection, and people get you wrong. Perfection, I don't think to you is some static thing. When you reach there, all clean lines. No, it's more of an ideal, and it's quite wholesome. Even though you have this, profoundly kinky sexual side to you, your aspirations for yourself are quite wholesome. And perhaps you've been made to feel for a while now like you've been asking for too much, or you wanted too much, or what you wanted just wasn't possible. You want it all. Maybe you've been accused of that. From now until December, you have a great chance of being able to answer those criticisms back with, I have it all. Alhamdulillah, I feel great about it. But for that to be possible, one has to be ready for really big opportunities to just fall into your lap. You have to be ready to walk backwards into enormous luck. You have to be ready to bump into someone completely randomly and they have the ability to introduce you into a world that changes your life. It's all around you, because at least Virgo rising, you have this Jupiter energy affecting your work. So the way that you can remain ready mentally, physically, emotionally, that's what we'll get into with the rest of this reading. Okay? Because then if I start talking about that, we're going to be here for 30 more minutes, and then that's your extended. All right. I love you guys. See you in the extended.